I've electronically filed Social Security disability. When the SSA made all available all my documents on a disk, I found discrepancies on the CE document and medical determination documents, incorrect EF, meaning ejection fraction percentages, and added data that was not on the original echo. Will I be able to contest these findings and conclusions? Okay. First and foremost, I tell people, well, let me not give you a long-winded. Yes, you can. You could, if you disagree and what we call object to some of the determinations, and when you're in the hearing, you definitely have the opportunity to do so. Be advised, and this is where I tell people having a representative is important. Just saying you disagree is not enough. Meaning, if you ever hear in court, and this is where it's kind of funny, it's an informal proceeding when you're in Social Security, but sometimes I have to use the regular court background to kind of give some context. You hear attorneys, they object. They don't just object and say, I object. They object and they give you the legal foundation for the objections. So for instance, if you have a document on here that says, you said ejection fraction. For those of you who don't know, ejection fraction has to deal with your heart and your ability to heart pump blood. It deals more with your left ventricle. Ventricle, always screw that word up. And ideally, the average human heart probably pumps at about 60 to 65%. That's normal. Anything lower than that, typically lower than 30%, is going to cause significant concern. So let's say, for instance, you're in court and you look at this and you say, I object to the accuracy of this ejection fraction. First thing the judge is going to be like, based on what? If you say, because I've had ejection fractions lower than that, the judge is going to say that that's not a proper objection, because there's a difference between disagreeing with it and objecting it. And this one you were talking about contesting, and I'm like, okay, let's say you want to contest, but again, it's going to go based on what? If at the time that was the ejection fraction they had. Now, if you're saying that your subsequent ejection fractions or prior were lower and this one was an abnormal one, you got to be able to show the judge that. Or let's say, for instance, you say that machine was out of whack that day and that number is a misnomer. The judge is going to say, point me in this document right here that tells me that the machine was not working. Point me somewhere. And if you can't do that, then you're basically just expressing a concern about something that you don't like. What I tell people is, at the end of the day, when you're reviewing your file, if you don't have an intimate knowledge of the medical background, medical things, and how to properly show the court, because in this instance, the contesting is not so much you're looking at. What you're trying to make a determination, or what you're trying to do is you're trying to tell the court to not give as much weight to a particular document. But you've got to be able to show the court why a particular amount of weight should not be given to a particular document.